All right, so ready to dive in. Today we're taking a look at John D. Rockefeller,
The oil tycoon.
the one and only, yeah.
Yeah.
He's often cited as, like, the richest person ever.
Oh.
I know, right? We've got a ton of research here. Articles, books, the whole shebang.
Sounds like a deep dive indeed.
It is.
Mm.
And trust me, this isn't your typical rags to riches story.
Oh.
It's got twists and turns.
Intriguing.
Yeah. For instance, did you know Rockefeller's dad was, well, a con man?
Really?
I kid you not. Sold fake elixirs, swindled farmers, the whole 9 yards. Talk about opposite approaches to wealth.
I know. That's quite the contrast.
It is. It's like, here's this kid growing up with basically a swindler for a dad,
Right.
and he becomes this icon of, like, financial stability and order.
Yeah, how does that even happen?
Well, that's what we're here to figure out. And it's wild. I mean, we're talking fake medicine, shady deals.
Some sources even suggest bigamy.
Oh, come on, really?
I know, right? It's like something out of a soap opera.
It's crazy. But in all this chaos, Rockefeller was like the good son.
The responsible one.
Exactly, taking on responsibility, working hard. It's almost like he was rebelling against his dad's chaos by creating his own, like, empire of order.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how this, like, chaotic environment might have shaped him. This drive for control, for order. It's almost like a psychological reaction to all that instability.
Yeah, I see that. And you can definitely see it play out in his business ventures later on. I mean, he was obsessed with efficiency.
And eliminating competition.
Oh, absolutely. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to young Rockefeller. He's entering the oil industry. Boom. It's exploding.
It's a new
Here. Exactly. But here's the thing. He doesn't get rich by finding oil.
He doesn't.
Nope. He sees the real opportunity is in refining it.
Refining.
Yeah, like it's the picks and shovels of the gold rush.
Controlling the essential process.
Bingo. And that's how Standard Oil is born.
Standard Oil, the behemoth.
The one and only. But, and this is a big but, he wasn't exactly playing nice to get there.
Let's just say the business world was a different place back then.
Understatement of the century. Ever heard of the Cleveland Massacre?
Vaguely.
Okay, picture this. In just 6 weeks, bam, Rockefeller takes down 22 competitors.
22.
22. Secret deals with railroads, ruthless price wars. It was brutal.
It was the Wild West of American capitalism, for sure.
No kidding. It was a free-for-all. Barely any regulations. You could get away with, well, pretty much anything.
Right. So judging by today's standards wouldn't be.
Exactly. But that's the context, right?
It makes you wonder, though, was Rockefeller a visionary or, a robber baron?
That's the million-dollar question. And here's the kicker. He genuinely thought he was doing good.
Doing good.
Yeah, like a benevolent force, saving inefficient businesses from themselves.
That's a bit like, a wolf saying he's helping the sheep by thinning the herd.
It is, isn't it? But that's how he saw it. And the thing is, that same argument, eliminating competition for efficiency's sake, it's still used today.
By monopolies.
Exactly. And does it really benefit the consumer in the long run? Debatable. But anyway, we're getting sidetracked. Because here's where things get really juicy.
Juicy.
Oh, yeah. Remember all those whispers about a shadowy figure behind Rockefeller's rise? Well, it turns out that shadow has a name. Kuhn Loeb.
Kuhn Loeb, the investment bank.
The very same. And they had connections, deep connections, that went way beyond American shores.
This is where the Rothschilds come in, right?
Ding, ding, ding. We've got a winner.
Yeah.
Kuhn Loeb was, like, deeply entangled with the Rothschilds. Family ties, business ventures, the whole shebang.
The Rothschilds, wow, that changes things.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Suddenly, the self-made narrative gets a little more complicated.
More like strategically assisted.
Right. It wasn't just Rockefeller's business smarts. He had powerful backers, serious capital behind him.
So the American dream, at least in this case, had a bit of a European benefactor.
It seems like it. And it goes even deeper. This Rothschild connection touches other big names, too. The Morgans, and even through later mergers, J.P. Morgan Chase. It's like, whoa, this is a whole network.
It's like the American dream had a secret European handshake.
I like that.
Yeah.
A secret handshake. And suddenly, the history books look a little different, don't they?
They do, yeah. Makes you wonder what else they might be glossing over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we'll save that for another deep dive.
It's wild, right? Like you think you know the story and then bam, there's a whole other layer.
Totally. It's like we're just scratching the surface here. And the deeper you go, the more you realize it's not just about, like business moves. It's about
Yeah.
connections, power dynamics.
Oh, absolutely. But also, belief systems. It's easy to forget that these tycoons, they weren't just like robots. They had values, ideologies.
Right, like Rockefeller.
Hmm.
We talked about his ruthlessness.
Right.
But he was also a devout Baptist,
Hmm.
like seriously devout.
Yeah, the tithing thing from his first paycheck.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you reconcile that? This cutthroat businessman who's also like deeply religious. It's a real head scratcher.
It's almost like a paradox, right? You've got this guy preaching humility and charity on one hand.
And then crushing his competitors on the other.
Exactly. It's fascinating. And it makes you wonder, did he see any contradiction there? Or was it like compartmentalized in his mind?
Maybe he saw it as a balance, like his philanthropy was a way to make up for the ruthlessness.
It's possible. The human mind is good at rationalizing, even when things seem, well, hypocritical.
For sure. But speaking of contradictions, let's talk about Rockefeller's personal life.
Ah, yes, the family man.
Married to his high school sweetheart for over 50 years, 5 kids, no scandals. It's like wholesome overload.
It is, isn't it? You'd almost think he was running a small-town bakery, not a global oil empire.
Right. It's almost too perfect. Makes you wonder, was it genuine? Or was it like a carefully crafted image?
Ooh, that's a good question. Was it strategic? A way to, like, soften his public image?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a question that probably followed him his whole life.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about the next generation.
The Rockefeller dynasty.
Yeah, his son, John D. Rockefeller Jr., he took a very different path.
Oh, how so?
Well, instead of, following in his dad's footsteps, he went into philanthropy and urban planning. Big time.
Interesting. So he inherited the drive, the ambition.
But channeled it in a different direction, almost like he was trying to make up for his dad's, past actions, or maybe forge his own legacy separate from the oil money.
It makes you think about the burden of legacy, right? How do you live up to or even redefine the expectations that come with a name like Rockefeller?
For real. And then there's David Rockefeller, the grandson. He became a prominent banker, but also a huge philanthropist.
Yeah.
Even surpassed his grandfather in total donations.
It's like the Rockefeller bloodline was destined to leave its mark one way or another.
It's true. And they definitely did. From oil to philanthropy, they shaped like so much of American history. You can't deny their impact, even if you have questions about their methods. So, I mean, after all this digging, what's your take on the whole Rockefeller saga? Hero, villain, something in between?
I think it's way too simplistic to put him in a box like that.
Yeah.
He was a product of his time, for
Oh, yeah.
sure, but also a complex individual, driven by ambition, by faith, by a desire to leave a legacy.
I agree, and that's what makes this deep dive so interesting, right? It's not about judging the past by today's standards.
Exactly.
It's about understanding the forces that shaped it, the complexities, the contradictions.
And how those forces, those complexities, they still resonate with us today, It's a mirror to our own time.
Yeah, it's like looking into a distorted mirror almost. You see bits of ourselves in there, the good, the bad, the complicated.
It makes you think, right, about the systems we create, the values we prioritize.
Totally. But before we get too philosophical, let's get back to the nuts and bolts of Rockefeller's business.
Okay, back to the brass tacks.
Exactly. I mean, we've talked about his ruthlessness, his tactics, but what about the specifics? Like, how did he actually build this empire? We know about the rebate schemes, the aggressive deals. Was there anything else like particularly innovative?
Well, one thing that really stands out is his laser focus on efficiency, like cutting costs wherever possible.
He was known for that, right?
Yeah.
Squeezing every last penny out of production.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a story about him turning like leftover kerosene into Vaseline?
Exactly. He saw opportunity everywhere.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just about being cheap. It was about creating a system that was so streamlined, so optimized, that it ran like a well-oiled machine. No pun intended.
Right. And that took investment, right?
Yeah.
New technologies, pipelines, all that.
Oh, absolutely. He was always looking for an edge, new refining processes, ways to transport oil more cheaply. He understood that to stay ahead, you had to innovate.
It's almost like he took the principles of like mass production, and applied them to the oil industry.
That's a great point. It's like Henry Ford with his assembly lines, but for oil.
Yeah, exactly. And it worked, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, his methods totally transformed the industry, made it more efficient, more centralized, and, a lot more profitable for him.
And that brings us to the other side of the coin, right? The philanthropy.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. We've touched on the scale of his giving, but I'm curious about the strategy behind it. Was it just like throwing money at good causes, or
Yeah.
was there a method to his madness?
Oh, Rockefeller was nothing if not strategic. His philanthropy was targeted, focused on education, medicine, religious institutions, things that aligned with his values.
So it wasn't just about donating. It was about building something, shaping the world in a way that reflected his beliefs.
Exactly. It was about legacy. Think about the University of Chicago, for example.
Oh, right.
With Rockefeller's funding, his vision, it became this world-class institution.
Mhm.
And then there's the Rockefeller Foundation, founded by his son, which has had this incredible impact on global health, agriculture, all sorts of things.
It's amazing to think about, the ripple effects of his actions. From cutthroat business deals to funding groundbreaking research. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is, yeah.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, what do you think? What's Rockefeller's ultimate legacy?
That's the million-dollar question, right? I mean, he was a giant, a symbol of American ambition, ingenuity, but also, a master manipulator. He amassed incredible wealth, but he did it by exploiting loopholes, by crushing his opponents.
Yeah, he was a walking contradiction.
Yeah.
A product of his time, but also like a shaper of it.
Right, and that's the beauty of history, isn't it? It's rarely black and white. It's messy, it's complicated, and it's full of these contradictions.
Absolutely. So what can we take away from all this,
Right.
from this deep dive into the world of John D. Rockefeller?
I think the biggest takeaway is that, well, the pursuit of wealth and power, it's a double-edged sword.
How so?
It can drive innovation, it can create progress, but it can also lead to exploitation, to inequality.
Right. It's a cautionary tale. It reminds
Right.
us to be mindful of the systems we create, to make sure they're serving everyone, not just, the people at the top.
Exactly. We can't just celebrate the achievements without acknowledging the cost, the human cost, the societal cost.
Well said. So I guess the question is, as we move forward, what kind of legacy do we want to leave behind?
That's the question, isn't it? Will it be one of ruthless ambition or one of balanced progress?
Big questions. But those are the questions that matter, right? The ones
Yeah.
that stick with you long after the deep dive is over.
Absolutely. And I hope our listeners keep asking those questions, keep challenging assumptions, keep digging deeper.
Well, folks, that about wraps it up for our deep dive into the world of John D. Rockefeller. We hope you enjoyed the journey, and until next time, keep those minds curious.